looky here. Another cameo appearance by good old Simon. Always wants to be the star of the show, doesn't he? Alright. Anyway, as I was saying, let me just set him down. So, I actually had someone that was interested in me doing a manga tag, and I was a little reserved about doing it just because one had already gone around, and I thought, well, you know, it'd be too soon. But, you know, I decided to do it anyway because I really enjoy these, and people can do them if they want. I'm not well versed in the rules, if there are rules to a manga tag. I don't know if this one is considered a manga tag just because of my questions that I created. So it's more like a discussion tag that centers around manga. But let's give this a shot. I have it written down in this handy-dandy notebook, so I'm going to be referencing it a decent amount. So let's begin with question number 1. So I have, why YouTube? Who or what inspired you to begin your channel? So I actually had wanted to start writing, or not writing, but creating YouTube videos, I would say kind of in the summertime of this past year, so 2016, kind of after I started collecting manga, because I would watch a lot of these channels, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, I kind of want to do these, you know. The one that really got me into watching these types of videos was a YouTuber called Fatal Ferret. I don't know if any of you have seen his work, but that was one of my absolute favorite YouTubers to watch. And then from him, I also stumbled across Insidious Sweet and Archangel. I believe it's Archangel. And so I used to watch those 3 all the time, and I still do. But recently I started to delve more into other YouTubers, because before it was just kind of like those 3, and I would just watch it, and time went on, and I was just kind of like, you know, I would never be as good as them, because the quality of their channels and how they go about it is just so good, and I was like, I'm never going to be that good. But then I just kind of decided to take the plunge. It was really like my husband who was like, you should do this, you should try it. So I decided I'd give it a shot, and even if my videos aren't amazingly edited and all that, it doesn't really matter, because if I even have just one person that likes to watch my videos, that's good enough for me, because I enjoy doing this, I enjoy reading manga, and it's just a bonus if other people like my videos, really. Okay, so question number 2. How did you choose your channel's name? So I chose mine just because of that kind of saying, you know, here's my 2 cents. And that's kind of what inspired me to do 2 Cent Penny. It's kind of hard to choose your YouTube channel name. I mean, especially because so many are taken in general. So yeah, I just thought, oh, here's my 2 cents. I mean, they're just my opinions, my reviews, my thoughts on these series of manga. So that's kind of hot. And then the 13, I use that at the end of like pretty much everything. It's the day I was born, kind of like my lucky number. So 2 Cent Penny 13. I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And it wasn't taken, so it was a nice bonus. Question number 3. How do you feel about manga that is only published digitally? So I hate reading things on like Kindle or my phone or the computer. I hate it. I like to have a physical copy in my hand. I like to see it on my shelf. I don't know what it is, if I'm just old school or what, but I like having it, smelling it, just seeing it. I like it. That is what I like. So it really irks me when I see manga that's only available online. And I'm saying like the ones where, you know, you download to your Kindle for $2.99 or whatever. I mean, the price is ridiculous. $2.99 for a volume of manga? That's amazing. But I don't want to read it on my Kindle. I want it in my hands. So it really irks me, and there is one series specifically that I really would like to have. It's called, I'm looking at my sheet, that's why I'm kind of looking over here. I want to say it's called aphorism. It's aphorism, so aphorism, something of that nature, and it's by Karuna Kujo, and the premise sounds amazing. Now, it's about, it kind of reminds me of Danganronpa. Again, I'm sorry if I haven't said that name correctly. But it's basically like these kids, they get into this school, this prestigious school, and I believe they get into it like if they can see this floating island. And on the first day of this elite academy, they write down one kanji symbol or one name, and the main character writes change. That's what he wants to accomplish throughout his years of this high school. And it just sounds so good. But so what happens is, all of a sudden, all these random things happen, like monsters come down and all these terrible things try to kill these students, basically, and their only defense is the kanji that they have written. So this guy, the main character, who's just this average kid who sucks at everything, you know, his kanji's changed, so he can change himself into anything, and that's his defense against these creatures that are just trying to kill these kids. You know, and other people, they can like conjure these weapons based on, again, the kanji that they wrote down, you know, in the very first day of school. To me, this sounds amazing. Like, love it. But it's on Kindle. It's digital. I don't want to do it. I mean, I'm going to, because my hope is if enough people buy this digitally, it will be released physically. And how amazing would that be? Because, like I said, the premise just sounds so good, and I really want to read it. So it's also kind of like a shameless little shout out to the series, because, you know, maybe people might be interested, maybe more people will buy it, and it will get a physical copy. That would be amazing. All right, so question number 4. Is there a manga character trope that you absolutely can't stand, or is there one that you most identify with? So I have a couple that really bug me. I call them lollies. I think they're like lolitas, but like the male ones especially bug me. Like the tiny child-looking men, because they're usually older, who have like, they love sweets, they're super happy, they have no other emotion other than happiness. Maybe they cry, maybe. And they're just sweetsy and I can't stand them. They annoy me. The only one that I've ever liked was Honey from Ouran Host Club. I did not mind Honey. I thought he had enough depth that it was fine. But for the most part, like, those types of characters drive me insane. I also really hate, I don't know if there's a particular name for this trope, but the Valley Girl type girls, if that makes sense. Like, the type that, you know, they're just talking about, you know, maybe they want to go to the mall, and they're just like, hey, okay, let's see if I can do this. Oh my god, we should, like, totally hang out sometime. Like, that would be so amazing, and, like, you're just so good, and you're just my best friend, and that. Cannot stand that peppy, type of character. Especially with all the likes thrown in, like, la 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 la, I like this, and like, oh, drives me nuts. So, I mean, Citrus, the female character with the blonde hair, she says like all the time, and is just about fashion and hair, and it's just like, bugs me a lot. And even in Food Wars, I think her name is Alice, the way she speaks, like, she sounds so cool, she looks cool, but then she starts to talk when she's being, like, the cutesy and not the serious version. I hate it. I hate the way she talks, because it just makes her sound so stupid, and I just want to be like, so yes, I would say those are the two types that I cannot stand the most. that cat over there, that's Coda. You haven't met her yet. She's usually pretty good about staying out of the camera. And then there isn't really one that I necessarily identify with, but I've always loved the characters like Naruto who are terrible, absolutely terrible at stuff, and then they mess up. Or the main character like Haiku, amazing, and then they get really, really good at something through like hard work and dedication, but they still lose. Those types of characters. I'm not necessarily like that, but I really like that. They resonate with me, if that makes sense. Okay, so next question. Number 5. Name a series that you read that didn't live up to its hype, or a manga that just disappointed you. Now, if you've been following my channel and watching my videos, I feel like you know what's coming. But in case you don't, Orange. This lovely title. Now, I'm not hating on it. I'm really not, okay? I just was thoroughly disappointed, and I don't know if my expectations were just a little too high, but I was thoroughly disappointed by this. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't buy it, because let me tell you, the story is well crafted. The characters are believable, they're realistic. This author spent her time, I'm not sure if it's a female or not, but they spent their time crafting their story. Just a second. Coda! Can't have her scratching at the ceiling. Anyway, the author spent her time crafting this, and they, I don't know, like I said, gender-wise, they did an excellent job on that. The characters were very believable. Despite the fact that they didn't resonate with me, that I didn't connect with them, aside from the one, Suwa, aside from that, it was excellent. I would just say the ending should have ended at a other spot than where it did, because I just felt it was too hasty, and if you're going to go hasty, there's a specific scene that it should have just ended there, and it would have been, I think, fine. But, I don't know, I wanted to like it, I really did, and it just fell flat for me. I really wanted to like it, I'm just very disappointed in it. But, you know, my taste may not be the same as yours, and you may like it a lot more than I did. I'm not saying it doesn't deserve its hype, because, like I said, it is well written, thought out, realistic in a lot of different ways. It just fell short for me, personally. And I think it's really my opinion, because the way I am, I just couldn't connect with the characters, and that's a big part of who I am and how I read things and interpret things. So if I don't connect with something, I won't like it for the most part. So that one really, disappointed me. But like I said, give it a shot. Read it for free, rent it from the library, borrow it from a friend. If you really like it, then buy it. That's my opinion. Anyway, so question number 6. Name a series you'd like to see published overseas. So I don't know if you know this, but I love like horror and psychological and dark, twisty mangas. Love them. But a lot of them you can't find overseas. At least I have a hard time finding them. I mean, if you have any recommendations, shoot them at me. But a lot of the ones that sound so interesting, they're not published here, and it's really frustrating to me. Like, there was this one, I don't know the title because I cannot find it anymore. I thought I saved the page, and I don't know, I guess I didn't because I can't find it. But it's basically like a battle royale, but these students are, like, chained to one another, and because they're connected, I think they're, like, by wrist cuffs kind of thing, so they have to go through this series of tests and trials and people killing one another, but they're attached to each other, and all these students are attached to other students, and yeah, like, that sounds amazing. Why can't I read it? Oh, it's in Japanese, and I don't read Japanese. I wish I did. I would love to learn it, just so I can read it. But a couple other ones, I have them written down, so I'm just going to glance over, but Problem Children are coming from another world, aren't they? I've seen the anime. If you have not seen the anime, I would check it out. It's kind of like that adventure comedy type. But I personally, it's only 12 episodes, but I loved it. And I was like, oh, is there a manga, a light novel? No, there's not. I don't know what happens next. It leaves off on like, not like a cliffhanger, but like there's more to the story. I want to know what happens. So So that one I would love. Liar Game is another one. I've heard that like the first volume might have been published in English, but if it has, I haven't found it. So, but Liar Game sounds amazing. And then Petite Wild Rose. There's a Japanese name for it. I don't know how to say it, but Hanjuku Joshi, something like that. It's a Yuri title, but again, like it sounds really good. The story and the premise sound good, and that again, you know, Japanese, and I can't read it. So those are a few titles that I would like to see personally come overseas and be translated. There are a lot more, but you know, I don't like to look at a lot because I just get pissed off, and I'm like, why is this not here? So. Number 7, is there a particular genre, stereotype, or trope that you'd like to see changed or like redefined? Now, I know this question is worded kind of wonky, but this is where I'm kind of going with this question. I really like to read Yuri titles. Absolutely love them. But my biggest issue with them is that they're too sweet. They're too, you know, Sakura Kiss, for example. I saw the anime. It's just too cutesy. You know, girl meets girl. Girl likes girl, just, yeah, and then it's just fluffy fluff. I want Yuri titles that aren't just fluff, but I don't want Yuri titles that are just like hentai or just, you know, sex for the sake of sex. Like, I want something with substance, and maybe I just haven't found a Yuri title overseas that I can, like, read physically, like a physical copy. Maybe I haven't found one. Maybe there is one in existence already. And if there is, please let me know. I will search it. I will look it up. I will try and find it. But I would just like to see something with more substance. Like, there's a lot of Yuri titles coming out, and I believe it was Whimsical Pictures. Yes, I want to say it was her. Bloom Into You. I have ordered that. It's in the mail. It haven't come yet. But she said, you know, it's very promising, and it's slow burning, and I'm hoping it's not super cutesy. Like, I don't mind the cutesiness, but I want more substance. Like, for example, like Citrus. Citrus has a decent amount of substance there, but it still falls into certain tropes, and I just want something new. I want a fresh experience. I want something that's, you know, full of hardship and, you know, or more, like, morally, like, Scum's Wish, for example. You know, you could argue that the main female character's morals are kind of twisted because, you know, she doesn't really like her boyfriend, but her boyfriend doesn't really like her either because they're in love with other people. And is that right? Is that fair? You know, like, I want something that is complex, that really looks into our human psyche and tries to exploit that, and what's wrong and what's right, what's gray. You know, I want more of that in Yuri titles, and not just, you know, I'm going to rub against you with my boobs. Sorry, my lack of. But, you know, that's kind of how they all are. Or they're just sex. I just want more. So that's kind of what I meant when I say, like, a genre stereotype. You can skip this question. Perhaps I just put it in so I could rant. I don't know. So that's kind of what I meant by that question. And then question number 8, how do you feel about the otaku or weeaboo stigmas? Now, me personally, whenever I say to someone, oh yeah, I like anime or I like manga, like, oh, like, you're an otaku, aren't you? Like, I get that. People have said that to me, and I'm like, I'm still a normal human being. It's not like I'm weird. Like, I hate that, and it makes me a little shy to tell people, like, these are the things I like, because there's such harsh judgment on people who like, you know, Japanese comics, and it's like, you know, you see this kid and he's collecting, like, X-Men. Oh, that's fine. He's just a nerd. It's fine. You know, no one really judges that person who likes the X-Men or Superman or whatever comic. Walking Dead is very popular here. But if I say, oh yeah, I like manga, I'm automatically just weird and creepy, and I watch tentacles go into women, apparently. I have had that asked to me, and it's annoying. So the otaku, weeaboo words, I don't like the stigma attached to it, the such negative stigmas that are attached to them. I'm not well versed in the exact meaning of each one. I can see the negativity when someone is so into Japanese culture, but they only get it from like anime and manga, and they think that is what Japan is all about, and that's it. Like, I can see why we would see that as negative, because, you know, obviously not all these mangas or animes are realistic to the actual country, you know. So, I mean, people obviously take it too far, but really we kind of just decide what's too far, what's okay, what's not okay. I don't know. I don't like to say that I'm an otaku or a weeaboo or anything like that. I don't even like to tell people that I'm interested in these things, because people are just like, rawr. They just like mind blown judgment glare, and I don't really understand why it's a thing that people like judge other people about. Everyone has hobbies, you know. It's not like, oh, you race a dirt bike, well, you're a pig, you're awful, you're grimy and gross, we should not talk to you. You know, like, no one does that. Like, I hope no one does that. So I don't like the fact that people can be just judged so harsh on the things they like. And obviously, if you are crossing a specific line, like a hardcore line, like, I don't even know where the line would be. But, you know, I don't know, I don't know. I have a lot of feelings on this topic, but, like, I'm also not super well versed in the exact meaning. I also don't really know how, like, Japanese people feel about these words, or how they feel about us enjoying their material. I mean, I've seen a couple of videos of Japanese people talking about this, and a lot of them, they say, you know, it's fine if you appreciate our culture, as long as, you know, you have more references than just anime and manga. I mean, that's what I have gathered from watching these videos, but I mean, videos are subjective to, you know, the people creating them. So I don't know. I personally, I don't like the judgment that is attached to these terms. Weeaboos is a relatively new term that I kind of learned about, and I've seen like those compilation videos, and they seem a little bit cringeworthy sometimes, because you're just like, but at the same time, it's like, I can't really, like, I don't want to judge you just because you really like, you know, J-pop or K-pop, or you like, you know, whatever, or you sometimes burst into Japanese that may or may not be correct. I wouldn't know. I know a couple Japanese words from anime, but, like, I don't use them in real life unless I'm with my husband and we're just joking around. But I don't know, that's just kind of where I stand. I know it can be kind of a touchy subject, so, I mean, like, feel free to skip this question. And I mean no disrespect by my opinion on it at all. And so we're just going to move on to question 9. Does manga have a place in the classroom? So I was thinking about this while I was driving to work, and I was thinking about A Girl on the Shore, because it's the one I just finished. And there was such subtext within it, and it made me think, like, I would love, like, if I was ever a teacher, I would like to teach something like this in class. You know, like, when you're sitting in the classroom in English, like, I loved English, but like, my husband hated English, like, hated it, hated reading out of that. But do you think it would be different if we had manga? Or even American comics in general? It doesn't have to be manga, but I feel like if you can find a source material that is dealing with whatever area you're trying to cover within the literature department, I feel like in high school especially, you could engage those kids that don't like to read these big, blocky, boring, you know, pieces of literature. You know, so many people I know in high school just, like, would spark note, or they just, like, not care and just kind of fail because they didn't want to read, you know, Romeo and Juliet. And I don't blame them, because I really hate that one too, but, you know, I read it. But I don't know, I feel like there are probably certain titles that could be taught in the classroom, and I think that would be a really useful tool. And I remember in 9th grade English, I actually had a professor, we didn't read any manga, but he showed us Spirited Away. We also watched another Japanese movie, but it was live action. I don't remember anything about it except for it was samurais, and when they made out, they like made out with their nose. It was weird. It was like the girl was in grass, and then the guy would like lick her nose seductively. It was weird. Really weird. But like he kind of took us out of our element, because where I grew up, it's a small town. I graduated with 200 people about in a small town, farmy, rural area. And I didn't know what manga was. You know, when I saw Spirited Away, I didn't know it was like an anime. I didn't know about Studio Ghibli. I didn't know any of that. I was like, this is cool. I like it. Don't know what it is. I just thought it was cartoon, you know? But, I don't know. I feel like if you had that in the classroom, it would be beneficial, especially because we all learn differently and we all have different tastes. And it's good to be, like, well-rounded culturally, in my opinion. But, like I said, that's just my opinion, so... Moving on to 10. What's a manga that you'd recommend? So I kind of did this one just because I know there's a lot of YouTubers that might want new material, and there's a lot of subscribers or people that are just watching that maybe want to see something else, something more, maybe a little more obscure, or just something that isn't talked about a lot, just so they can maybe pick it up or read it. So my recommendation, and granted I don't have a huge collection, so it is maybe kind of popular, I don't know, but Yamada-kun and the Seven Witches. I don't hear a lot about it, so I mean, I don't know how popular it really is, but this one took me by so much surprise because it is hilarious. Like, I sat there and I would laugh. It's so funny, and it kind of reminds me of Freaky Friday. Like, if you've ever seen that movie with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan, it kind of reminds me of that, but with like a certain twist. Also kind of reminds me of Kokoro Connect, which, by the way, that anime I was kind of disappointed about too, but that's neither here nor there. But this one, honest to God, just give the one volume a chance. Even if you just borrow it, read it online, whatever. I think you'll be surprised. It is usually not my cup of tea. I'm not a big humor person, like comedy. I think they fall flat for me, or I'm just not, I don't know. But this one, absolutely love it. It's super funny. I want to know what happens. I have up to volume 8 right now, and there's more releasing. I don't know how long it will be, but it's good, and I highly recommend giving it a shot. All right, so those are my 10 questions. I would actually like to tag 3 people. I don't know if that's against the rules, but I'm gonna do it anyway. But the people I tag, you do not have to do if you don't want to, because I know that there's a tag going around and people are busy, and like I said, you don't have to do it, but it'd be cool if you did. So first person I'd like to tag is the Anime Ashtray. This guy has been so amazing. He's so warm and welcoming to me. He convinced me to get a Twitter. I have a Twitter now. I am so sorry. I don't know what I'm posting or doing, so. But I'd like to take him, and he's amazing. If you haven't seen his videos, please go see him, subscribe. He's wonderful. And then my second tag is going to Aloof Dragons, because she actually created a tag, and I had done hers, and she had some really interesting questions, and then watching her videos, she talks about a lot of interesting subjects and the way she goes about it and her logic. I'm really curious to see how she answers these questions. And she's also starting out, so feel free to give her videos a look as well. I don't know, I'm really curious to see how she would answer these. And then my third tag would be Whimsical Pictures. I feel like she has a very different outlook and a very different taste in manga than I do, and I would generally be interested in her opinions and to see how she answers these. But anyway, yeah, like I said, guys, you don't have to do the tags if you don't want to. And if anyone else wants to do these tags I did not tag, you can feel free to do it. Please let me know, because I would love to watch your videos. I really like watching these videos and seeing everyone's different answers and their different opinions, and even if they clash, like, I'm curious about it. And I honestly would love to have more of these, like, discussions, or like Aloof Dragon, she wants to do these discussion videos, and I love that idea. I want it this channel and other channels just to be a little bit more about, or not a little bit more about, but having that discussion aspect, aside from like, you know, reviews and hauls, which I love watching, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of nice just to talk amongst each other about all these different kinds of topics. And I don't know, I really love that aspect, and getting to know everyone is kind of nice, and I'm new, so it'd be nice to know more about all of you. So thank you for watching again. I'm sorry this video kind of got out of control and it's very long and I'm a little rambly, but anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys soon.